If I was starting to invest today, knowing everything I know now, I wouldn't begin by searching for the best stock, the hottest trend, or the fastest way to make money. I wouldn't open 10 tabs comparing strategies. I wouldn't try to predict the market. And I definitely wouldn't start by asking what everyone else is doing. I would start somewhere much quieter. Because the biggest mistake people make when they begin investing isn't choosing the wrong asset. It's starting from the wrong mindset. Most people don't fail because they lack intelligence. They fail because they feel pressure to get it right immediately. They feel late. They feel behind. They feel like everyone else already understands something they don't. So if I was starting today, the very first thing I would do is slow down. Not to delay investing, but to remove emotional urgency. Urgency is the enemy of good decisions. When people rush into investing, they usually borrow confidence they haven't built yet. They copy strategies they don't fully understand. They take risks they aren't emotionally prepared to handle. And when volatility shows up, which it always does, fear replaces logic. So before investing a single dollar, I would focus on building emotional stability. I would ask myself a simple but uncomfortable question. How much uncertainty can I actually tolerate? Not in theory. Not when markets are calm. But when prices fall. When headlines scream panic. When my account balance moves against me. Most people think risk tolerance is about percentages. It's not. It's about behavior under stress. So if I were starting today, I would design my entire investing approach around staying calm, not maximizing returns. Because staying invested matters more than being clever. Once that foundation is clear, the next thing I would do is remove complexity. Not add it. I would ignore advanced strategies. I would ignore leverage. I would ignore anything that requires constant attention. Not because those things never work, but because they demand emotional discipline most beginners don't have yet. And pretending otherwise is expensive. The internet loves complexity because complexity looks intelligent. But complexity increases the number of decisions you must make. And every decision is a chance for fear, doubt, and regret to interfere. If I were starting today, I would want the fewest decisions possible. I would want rules that work when I'm tired. Rules that work when I'm anxious. Rules that work when I don't feel confident. Simplicity isn't weakness. It's resilience. The next thing I would do is define one clear goal. Not 10 goals. Not vague ideas about wealth. One purpose for investing. Is this money for retirement decades from now? Is it for long-term independence? Is it to protect purchasing power? Because money without a goal becomes emotional very quickly. When there's no clear purpose, every market movement feels personal. That clarity alone removes enormous pressure. Then, and only then, would I choose how to invest. And I would start boring. Very boring. I would choose broad diversification. I wouldn't try to outsmart the market. I wouldn't try to pick winners. I would accept something most people resist, that average returns, earned consistently over time, outperform most attempts at brilliance. So I would begin with simple, low-cost, diversified exposure. Not because it's perfect, but because it's durable. Durable strategies survive mistakes. Fragile strategies collapse when conditions change. And beginners don't need fragile systems. They need systems that forgive imperfection. If I were starting today, I would also automate as much as possible. Automation removes emotion. When money is invested automatically, decisions disappear. There's no debating whether now is a good time. There's no waiting for certainty. There's no reacting to headlines. Consistency beats timing. Every single time. Most people underestimate how powerful boring consistency is. They look for dramatic moves. But wealth is built through quiet repetition. I would also invest before I felt ready. This part matters. Most people wait for confidence. But confidence comes from action, not before it. If I waited until everything made sense, I would miss time. And time is the most valuable asset in investing. So I would start small. Small enough that mistakes don't hurt emotionally. Small enough that volatility doesn't cause panic. But I would start. Because starting creates learning that no book can replace. Another thing I would do differently if I were starting today is ignore most financial content. That might sound strange. But most financial content is designed to trigger emotion, not clarity. It creates urgency. It amplifies fear. It highlights extremes. And that environment is terrible for beginners. So I would limit how often I consume investing news. Not to be uninformed, but to protect my psychology. Markets do not require daily attention. In fact, the less you watch, the better you often perform. So if I were starting today, I would set boundaries. I would check my investments infrequently. I would avoid daily market commentary. I would focus on principles, not predictions. Because predictions don't build wealth. Behavior does. Another critical thing I would do is accept that losses are part of the process. Not as a possibility, as a certainty. If you invest long-term, you will experience downturns. You will question your decisions. You will feel uncomfortable. That doesn't mean you failed. It means you're participating. If I were starting today, I would normalize discomfort. I wouldn't expect investing to feel good all the time. I would expect it to feel boring most days and stressful sometimes. That expectation alone would prevent panic. Most people don't fail because markets go down. They fail because markets go down unexpectedly. So I would expect volatility in advance. I would plan for it. Another thing I would avoid is comparing myself to others. Comparison is poison in investing. Different incomes. Different timelines. Different responsibilities. There is no universal pace. If I were starting today, I would measure progress against my own plan, not social media. I would stop asking, am I doing enough? And start asking, am I being consistent? Consistency is boring. But boring compounds. I would also stop chasing certainty. There is no moment when investing suddenly feels safe. There is no signal that removes uncertainty. The market always feels uncertain. Waiting for clarity is often just fear disguised as caution. So I would accept uncertainty as the cost of participation. You don't get long-term returns without it. Another thing I would do early is separate identity from investing. I wouldn't label myself as a certain type of investor, because identity makes change harder. I would focus on process, not labels. Good investing evolves. Rigid identity doesn't. I would also keep expectations realistic. Not because I lack ambition, but because unrealistic expectations cause emotional damage. If I expect extraordinary results, ordinary volatility will feel like failure. So I would expect progress to be slow, uneven, and boring. And I would remind myself that boring is working. If I were starting today, I would also keep life first. Investing should support your life, not consume it. If investing causes constant stress, the strategy is wrong. Money is a tool, not a scoreboard, not a source of identity, just a tool. And finally, if I were starting today, I would forgive myself faster. I would make mistakes. I would misunderstand things. I would change my mind. That's normal. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is survival. Survive mistakes. Survive emotions. Survive noise. Because compounding only works if you stay in the game. The market doesn't reward brilliance. It rewards patience. So if I were starting to invest today, I wouldn't try to be impressive. I would try to be steady. I wouldn't chase excitement. I would design calm. Because calm is what allows time to work. And time, not intelligence, is what builds wealth.